Welcome to the Level Up Podcast. Our goal is that by listening to our podcast, you will be inspired to level up. With the help of some amazing guests, we'll be inspired by some inspirational success stories and find out how you can level up your business, your life, and your relationship with yourself. Because I know that by leveling up and balancing these three aspects of your life, you can make a difference and impact the lives around you. Level Up Podcast will be a series of interviews featuring successful professionals who are making a mark and a difference in their lives and others. They will share their incredible stories of how they did it, so you can be inspired and learn from the very best.
Thank you for coming on board, Mr. Eddie. It's a pleasure having you with the podcast of Level Up with Bertha. So thank you for taking the time. I know you're an extremely busy person, and I definitely thank you for the time you have set up aside for us to have this great conversation. It's going to be very, very informal. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to just let our audience know who's Eddie. So welcome.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. And thank you for your kind words. Appreciate it.
No problem. So tell me a little bit about you. I know we have something here about Eddie, but can you tell our audience who's Eddie? Where is he from? We want to know who you are.
Quick synopsis. I was born in India. I came to the U.S. when I was 16. I landed in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1991.
Okay.
I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't speak English. I worked at my brother's restaurant. He had a fast food burger joint in Salt Lake City. I worked there. And basically, I thought that was my life. I just want to work at a restaurant and speak broken English and mop the floors and flip burgers. And that was my career.
So that was your first job coming in?
Yeah, I was 16. But something happened which really lit a lot of fire in my belly. So when I was 16, when I was mopping those floors and when I was taking orders and I saw all the other teenagers on dates having their burgers and laughing and having their shakes, it pissed the shit out of me. It's really me off right now as we speak. So it put a lot of fire in my belly, like, F this, I'm not going to do this. I don't want it. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to learn how to speak well. I'm going to get out of Utah. I'm going to go to a big city. I'm going to do well. And long story short, I pushed myself. I took lessons and I went to finish my high school. Then I went to Utah State University. I pushed myself. And then I came to California in 1997. And I got into the mortgage/real estate industry in 1999 and never looked back.
So tell me a little bit about how was that? How do you got introduced to the industry? What was that like?
Yes. So in 1997, when I came to California, and there are lots of mini stories, which were challenging times. I come to California in 97, didn't know where I was headed because I either wanted to go to California or New York. Because coming from India, that's all we knew. When you live outside of the U.S., you just think of Hollywood or New York. I mean, you don't know. That's all you know. I'm like, dude, I want to go to California or New York. So the reason why I decided to come to California, because Utah is cold. I did not like the snow. I'm like, dude, maybe I should go to California. So I asked my brother if he knows anyone in California. Mm-hmm. And I do have a friend. He gave me the number. I took the address. And I did not even know what part of California I was driving to. This is back then. We didn't have an iPhone or it's called MapQuest.com, and you would print or you look at the map
right?
books. Yeah. So I looked at the map. I guess I'm going to San Francisco. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know where it is, but let's go. So I drove for 12 hours. I came here, and then I couldn't find a job. Even though after having a college degree, I couldn't find a job. I'm like, this is not good. So my first job was a pizza delivery boy at Domino's with a college degree. Yes. Wow. But then because I had to work, so I was delivering pizza, and then eventually I got a job at Circuit City. Back in the day, Circuit City, like Best Buy, they used to have branches back then, and I met some friends. I was selling computers over there, and I hated it. I hated sales. I'm like, I don't want to do sales, man. This sucks. You have to kiss ass. I don't want this job. But then I met some friends who were working there, and all of a sudden they quit and they're driving BMWs and Mercedes. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We're in the mortgage and real estate business.
Oh,
Basically,
that's
in the beginning, I got into the mortgage business. They're in the mortgage business. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to spell mortgage. But I'm scratching my head because I looked at these people. I didn't think they were any sharper than me. And I'm like, I don't want to do sales though. I don't like sales. But then I'm looking at the BMWs and I'm looking at my student loan and my debt. I'm like, dude, I have to give it a shot. I have to. I hated it. But I told myself I'll give myself 6 months. One thing that worked for me, I'm a hard worker. So I gave it my best shot and it just never looked back. I did really well.
Wow, that's amazing. So not knowing anything about the mortgage industry, that's where you started. And what happened? They got you into the real, I mean, goes hand by hand. I'm in the lending side, as you know, and we work together very closely. And a lot of people transition from either the real estate to the lending or vice versa. So you started in lending and went into the real estate. What made you make that transition?
So basically, I was working at AmeriQuest Mortgage Company. That was the biggest subprime lender back in the day. Yeah, back then, AmeriQuest Mortgage Company. This is 1999. Then I started working for a brokerage, and within 2.5, 3 years, I opened my own company.
Oh,
I had my own.
Okay, that's amazing.
100 licensed loan agents working under my brokerage.
Okay.
Just blew up. And it wasn't a big deal because anybody could have done, mortgages and lending back then because the rules and restrictions were so easy, right? As long as you were qualify, that was so easy. Just 1031, just this like 1003.
1003.
I don't even know the terms anymore, but 1003, just fill it out, sign it, get your loan. So we blew up. We had 4 or 5 branches, and then 2007 happened. Everything crashed. Right? I was bankrupt, basically. Wow. We had, all these huge office spaces, 10,000 square foot office in Silicon Valley, and it was crazy. So then for like good 6 months, I was in a depression because I lost everything. I had this crazy lifestyle, living in a big mansion, cars, couldn't afford anything because I was, like buying stuff left and right. I was buying properties just like everybody else. Then it crashed. I got into a depression. I was drinking alcohol every day. I'm like, oh my gosh. Wow. But then I snapped out of it. I'm like, this is not good. I snapped out of it. I looked at my options. That mortgage business came to a standstill. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I was there. I remember that we needed to packages like this thick by the time we got them done on an FHA loan back then,
So, but one thing that happened was short sale market emerged.
Yes.
Remember? Like somebody bought a home for $1 million, now the home is worth $600,000. They owe $900,000. So there were a lot of short sales and they were sitting on the market. So that's when I got into short sales and I tasted the real estate blood. Basically, it was a very organic transition because I'm dealing with a lender still. I'm tasting the real estate side. And I noticed if I sell a $200,000 home or a $2 million home, it's same work, same paperwork, but I make 10 times more. So in 2012, the short sale market evaporated. All the short sales were, and I'm like, oh shit, now what do I do? So I looked around in Silicon Valley. I looked at the top brokerage who does high-end homes. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to join a high-end company and just work for them.
Wow. So that was like back in 2012. Then that's when you went in fully and into real estate.
Went in fully. And that's when I met Mike Ferry because that's how I was introduced. And then
I was going to ask you that next. Who's been the person who had made more impact in your career? And thank you for bringing that up because again, actually, we met through a Mike Ferry event.
That's right. I cannot see you, by the way, but I don't know if that matters, but I can keep talking.
You can keep talking. I can see you. Maybe, yeah, it's fine. I can hear you.
Yeah, it's fine. So basically, I met Mike Ferry about 10 years ago, and I just love his style. There's no bullshit. There's no fluff. Get your ass to work, and that's it. And I like that kind of shit. So I'm like, hey, I like this guy. So I signed up, and it was hard. It wasn't like I signed up and I started making money right away. It took me a good year to get the ball rolling, but then it just kind of blew up.
Beautiful. And that's something important, I think, because a lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to get in. It's going to be easy. Like you were saying earlier about people seeing the cars, being the lifestyle. And for some reason, it is very interesting, the real estate or even the mortgage industry. People tend to think they're going to get in and they're going to make money quickly. So looking back, obviously you've been through it. Now this is the second time, and having that experience that now you have, looking back, is there anything you would have changed, that would have done different? Any advice you will give to somebody that is coming into the industry now, knowing what you know?
I mean, looking back, there are lots of things you can say. I should have bought more homes in 2010. I should have done this. There are lots of things you can say, but I wouldn't change a thing because it makes me who I am right now. You know what I mean? So if you take any piece out, then it doesn't make you who you are. I like this guy. I didn't like me even 5 years ago or 7 years ago because I just, you know how we are like always hard on ourselves, especially if you have that growth mentality, right? So I didn't like myself. I never liked myself, but now I'm liking the person I'm becoming, thanks to just the people like you in my life, just having good people around you, and you just have that growth mindset. And then whatever happened in 2007, 8, it at the moment it seemed like the worst thing in the world, but that was the best thing that ever happened to me because it humbled me. It really brought me down to my knees, and then it just bounced back up, So it was good. It was a good thing.
Definitely. And I think I was there too. So definitely there are times where like you said, times that what makes us strong is the times that we go through something that really brings us to our knees, and we have to reevaluate and see what we need to do, pick up ourselves together, and let's go again. And that's, I think, something that I really wanted to emphasize today with you, because I wanted to talk about your book. I know I read your book, but I want you to tell audience about that book and what inspired you to write it. And what is your goal? What is the message you want to send out to when you were writing that book? Because I loved it. I took so many good pieces from it, but I love you to share with us. What was that like?
Sure. So back in the day when I had my mortgage company, even when I was doing short sales, I had my own company. And then eventually in 2012, I had a few people who used to work for me. I was trying to motivate them, but they wouldn't. It's hard to motivate people, right? And I just got exhausted. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to roll up my sleeves. Forget it. I'm just going to join this big company and learn, which was the best thing that ever happened. By the way, even at that point, I was making good money. I was, making $300,000 a year. It was good money. But I was like, no, I can do better. So I shut that company down. I joined this company, and I've been a lone wolf for a while because I don't want them. I did not want team members. But what happened about 2.5 years ago, I started attracting these agents. They wanted to work with me, which in the beginning I was like, no, I don't want it because I've been there and I hate motivating people. But then I got this advice from somebody that, hey, keep helping people because you never know who you're gonna help, and that kind of stuck with me. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start doing this. And I did notice when I was helping these, because a lot of people are not exposed to having a good mindset, having a routine, taking care of your health, taking care of your body. It's a very foreign language for most people out there, right? So I've seen people transform from being in depression, even if they're not making a lot of money, but they're like happy and healthy and having a good mindset. For me, that was very gratifying. So I've been training these team members for past couple of years, and it motivated me to write my book. I'm like, hey guys, here's my story. If you tell me you're not a salesman, if you tell me you're shy, if you tell me blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I couldn't speak the language. I was shy. I thought I was ugly. I was bullied. I thought I was dumb. Literally, these are facts.
Yeah, the things that we tell ourselves. Yeah.
And people would tell me, hey, you're funny looking, and blah, blah. You're a teenager, people tell you stuff, and it stays with you. So you got to be careful how you talk to your kids because it stays with them. So it's still with me. I have to work on it. So, but basically what happened was I would share the story with my team, trying to motivate them. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should just write a book, So I wrote a book, took me about a year and a half, and just released it about a month ago. Yeah. Yes.
And I am super excited you did, because it's definitely one of those books that makes you stop and think that, again, motivating, like you were saying, how you can show someone by example but you doing it, look at you. You were this, and now look with the results you have. And it's just inspiring. Definitely, I took so much away from that, but thank you for sharing that. We'll go ahead and put the information about your book, but it's an amazing book. Go ahead and grab it. I know there will be some nuggets you'll get out of this book. I know I did when I finished over, and I did it in a weekend because I promised you. I said I got it today. I'm going to finish it in a weekend, and I texted you on Monday. I'm done.
Yes, appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's just like sharing a true story about, and it's not even about me. It's like, hey, anybody can do it.
Yes. The message, that's the message I got. I was going to tell you, Eddie, the message I got is if you can do it, you can do it too. Right?
Anybody can do it. A lot of people are like, hey, it's not my thing. Oh my gosh, I'm shy. I mean, you're born in this country. You speak the language, right? I had to learn. I still have a communication coach who teaches me how to talk. But I'm like, I want to take it on. I'm learning how to speak Spanish now. I'm learning how to dance salsa. I'm like, forget about everything.
Multicultural. You're gonna be speaking Spanish, doing presentations, doing listing presentations in Spanish next time we talk.
Life is short, man. Why not? Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell me about the family. I know I've seen you around with your kids, and it's so beautiful to see you spending time with your kids. How's the family? And how do you finding the time? Because again, I have 3 kids, and there are times where you're like juggling business, juggling the life, and you need to make the time. But obviously, how do you do it? Tell us a little bit about how you're able to balance running your office, having your team, having a successful, brokerage, real estate brokerage, and then still finding the time to spend time with those kids and making time for them.
It's a really good question, and there's no right or wrong answer. I know you and I know people. There are fathers out there who spend a lot of time with their kids, but they're broke. They're not working. They're lazy. All they do is spend time with the kids, right? Then you see people like Mike Ferry, who didn't spend too much time with the kids, and every single one of his kids are super successful, right? So my thing is, I read a quote that my father never told me what to do. He just lived his life and watched me do it. So basically the point of the quote is like, I'm not trying to preach my kids. I'm not trying to spend way too much time. I'm not a hands-on dad. I'm not the kind of dad who goes home and play balls with my kids. I spend very little time, and it's hard to have balance in your life because you're not going to be a excellent father spending a lot of time with the kids and making a lot of money and making a difference in the world and doing training. It's just not possible. You are going to have to sacrifice somewhere. It's life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So basically, one thing I do is I just basically try to lead by example. And my daughter is 17. She just got her license 2 weeks ago, and she's the hardest working 17-year-old I know. She's got a job at a mall. She works at a retail store, and she goes to high school. And there are some weekends she's working 20 hours a weekend. And being a teenager, she's like, hey, I don't care about hanging out with my friends. I want to work. And I like it because I think she gets it from me because I like this work. So if I can teach them, hey, hard work is everything, I think they're going to be more than okay. So I'm not too worried about, I don't like fluff in life. You know what I mean? I don't want fluff. I don't want to be hanging out with my kids and they're broke and I'm broke, and not just financially broke. We can be financially
right.
Families they're rich,
Absolutely.
but they're mentally broke. They're emotionally broke. They're depressed. I don't want that shit. You know what I mean? I want my kids to go and fly, and I tell them, hey, you know what? If I see you for Thanksgiving or Christmas every year, that's okay with me. I don't need to see you every weekend. It's fine. As long as I know that they're having a good life, they're having fun, for me, that's a win. So everyone is different, like I said. Some people are like, no, I want my kids to stay in the same town. Like, well, we're all different. Yeah.
We're all different. Something you touched on that I think I'm going to speak for myself too. I believe that leading by example is more important than what you say, because you can say, so many things. You can speak nice words and all of that, but if they don't see you doing it, I think leading by example is definitely the best way to teach our kids.
Yeah, what's a shame is I see people who are more concerned about their favorite sports team than taking care of their kids. They would spend $1,000 on tickets or season tickets, and their kids are struggling. because and you know, because there's no work ethics, there's no like no leading by examples, and you see that a lot, and that's why, you know, it's kind of sad. I think Mike Ferry talks about it, because if you look around, a lot of people are just lazy these days. You know, they just don't want to work. They want things handed. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do see a lot, and I know there's so much that we can dive into that. But another question that I wanted to bring up, because I know you're very, very regimented about your morning routine. So please share with the audience, what is your morning routine? What time this individual, because my goodness, I told you before, you're an inspiration. I see you 6:45 in the office. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still getting ready with the kids, because I do take my daughter to school every day. So I'll have to say that. But again, I know you have a very, very strong and very rigid morning routine. Please share with us, what does that look like for you?
Basically, so first of all, I want to say it doesn't matter if you get up at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't matter. Just because I get up early doesn't mean you have to get up early, because we all have different schedules. Anthony Robbins goes to sleep at 4 in the morning. He's like, dude, my juices are flowing at night. He's writing books, you know? So the one thing that happened to me when I joined Mike Ferry about 10 years ago, I came across a book called The Miracle Morning. Okay, The Miracle Morning. If you haven't read that book, get it. Okay. So basically, the book talks about basically doing a few things on a daily basis, like meditation, affirmation, reading a good book, visualizing, exercising, and journaling. Okay. So what I do is I get up at 4 in the morning, and doesn't matter how I feel, the alarm goes off, and I put a big smile on my face while I'm laying down, big smile, and I just get up. And I just get up, and first thing I do is I make my bed. It doesn't matter if I'm achy, if I slept for 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, it doesn't matter. I'm half asleep, I get up force myself with a smile, and I make my bed. And right away I grab my computer and I write down my affirmations and my goals while I'm half asleep, just like almost falling down, but I'm like, nope. With a smile, I write down my affirmations, my goals. Bertha, do you get that every morning and evening? You get that? You get that email, right? Okay. Yeah. So basically, I write that down, and then I go to the restroom. I basically just get ready. I take a shower, I brush, I shave, whatever. I get ready, and I put on my gym clothes, and I go to the gym. I'm at the gym by 5 a.m. Okay. I don't sweat a lot, but I lift a lot of weights. So that way I don't have to take a shower in the gym. So what I do is from 5 to 6, I have if anybody wants to join, just let me know. I have a 5 a.m. basically what I call is a 5 a.m. miracle morning routine. And it's a Zoom link that people join from the US and Canada. And we have anywhere from 10 to 30 people join every day. And basically 5 a.m. we watch a motivational video. Okay. And this is me at the gym, but I'm watching the video. We do affirmations, right? And then we're all working out together, obviously in different parts of the world. Yes. But you can be running, you can be jogging, but the whole idea is we're together as a unit. Community. And while we're reading, we're listening to a good book. And a book is, playing in the background for a good 30, 40 minutes. And then we meditate, and then we do affirmations again. And I'm done working out by 6 a.m. 6:30, I'm out the door in the gym. And usually I'm at the office between 6:45 and 7. Okay. I come to the office and I have some rituals. The first thing I do is make my coffee, make my oatmeal, and I make my video. Every day I make a video in the morning about market updates. And then basically from 7 to 9:30, I have back-to-back like coaching call, mastermind call. I have communication coach, I have Spanish coach. I have all these coaches that I talk to. I have mastermind groups. I do my own trainings with my team. That's what I'm doing. And then 9 to 12, I'm basically prospecting and lead follow-up. That's my routine.
Beautiful. So that morning, I think it's definitely very important to get your mindset, like you were saying, work on your mindset, work on your body, work at how you're going to show up for yourself for that day. And that is, again, something I've been doing for the last couple of years, and it's definitely game changer. Like, it definitely makes a huge difference on how you show up with in your office.
Totally.
Even with your family, they see you doing it, and it's funny or not, now my kid is now doing it too. Like, she's getting up a little earlier than normal. So again, showing by example. I just truly, truly believe that that's so important, that we as parents make those sacrifices, but at the same time, remember that they're watching us. They're seeing what we do, not what we say. So thank you for sharing that. Another thing I wanted to ask you, I know we talked about this last time, but what are the 3 books that and you mentioned one already, but what would be the 3 books that you would recommend someone to read? And it doesn't necessarily have to be real estate, because obviously we have audience from different, they do different things. But what would be the 3 books that you think had made a change, that had impacted you and had allowed you to stay focused or do something that had made you be who you are today, that you said these 3 books are the ones that I will recommend someone to read?
There are so many books that I can.
Let's pick 3.
Miracle Morning is definitely up there. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Okay.
That's
Can't Hurt.
really a great book. How to Win Friends and Influence Others.
Beautiful. Dale Carnegie, right?
Dale Carnegie. And I want to give you one more. How to Stop Worrying, Start Living.
Oh, because that's a good one.
I think if you really master these 4 books,
okay,
it's going to be a different book. Because it basically covers everything, right? It covers your morning routine. It covers your rituals. It covers your mindset. If people who worry a lot, like I used to worry a lot, and if you're in sales, if any kind of business, how to influence people, how to make friends. So I feel that these are great, very powerful books. If you just read those 4 books and just mastered them, you're going to change your life.
Beautiful. Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing those. Now, let me ask you, and I know you're in the real estate, I'm in the lending, working with your team, and even again, now interacting with everybody else that you interact with, and you have so many that look up to you. So tell me, what is your superpower? What do you think Eddie's superpower is that makes him successful, that makes him, stand out from everybody else? And what do you think that will be?
Well, I think, you nailed it. We all have superpowers. Every single one of us on this planet, we are blessed with some sort of superpower. I think my superpower is basically willingness to learn with an open mind. You know what I mean? So I think that's huge, because a lot of people are very stuck with their thinking. If they're like politically, or if I say, hey, this is black, and you're like, no, it's gray. No, I'll be like, no, it is black. The way I think, I'm like, well, I think it's black. You're telling me it's gray. Give me your reasoning. Maybe I'm wrong. So I really look at things like that, and I'm really willing to look at my blind spots, no matter how much I believe in one thing. And I think a lot of people don't really necessarily have that open mindset and ability, or willing to learn and work and willing to work hard for it. So I think that's my superpower, because I am willing to learn and be coachable.
Yes. And honestly, that's the first thing. If I think of you, that will be the first thing will come up. It looks like reading your book, reading your bio. That was the one thing that stood out for me, is you are willing to learn, and you're coachable, you're open-minded. You want to know why is this way rather than this way, and not be too set up on your ways. Be willing to adapt.
I couldn't speak the language. I'm like, no, I need to learn how to speak the language. No, I need to get better. I need to reduce my accent. I need to get better. I want to learn how to do public speaking. I want to work on my voice quality. So, and these are the kind of things that I've been doing. And when people meet me, they're like, oh, you're a natural. You're so charismatic. I'm like, dude, you should have met me 20 years ago. You wouldn't even be able to understand me, right? But that's the thing, though. Like, willingness to learn and never stop. Like my communication coach or my I would never stop coaching with them. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, and I think it comes with, and again, I'm going to count myself in, because I'm an immigrant, obviously coming here, not knowing the language. I think it's just draining you that you need to learn the language. Now you're here. Now we're here. What do we need to do? Adapt.
Exactly.
First thing is with the language. So any advice you would like to give someone who is thinking about getting into the real estate business? Because I get that question all the time. We have a lot of, people that, again, see our industry, and they're like, oh, yeah, they make money easily. Oh, that looks so easy. It's so, glamorous. The lifestyle they have, they make such a good money. What would be an advice you'll give someone who's thinking about getting into our industry?
Yeah. You and I have met people in this industry where somebody might be doing really well, and then they're broke and they're out of the business, right? So first of all, success is not final. You can join the industry and you may do well in 2-3 years, and then you're like, it's a very demanding business. You have to keep changing. The markets are always changing. You know, I've seen short sales. I've seen 9/11. I've seen the 2000 burst. I've seen pandemic. And it's a different market. It's a different stuff, different script. You know what I mean? So you have to, just when you think, like when short sales were happening, I'm like, at one point I had 35 short sales in the pipeline. 35. I'm like, holy shit, I made it. And then it's gone. Like, oh shit. Now, I mean, hold on a second. No more short sales? No. They don't exist anymore. Like, so that's the kind of industry we're in. Things are always changing. It doesn't matter lending or real estate. I think it's they go hand in hand. At the end of the day, you're not in the real estate business. You're in the lead generation business. You're in a relationship business. You know what I mean? So I would highly recommend that unless you're willing to learn, unless you're willing to adapt, unless you're willing to not cry when things go wrong, if somebody doesn't want to work with you, or if you don't make any money in a month or 2 months or 6 months, if you're willing to take all that shit, go for it. If not, don't do it. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I love what you said about be willing to adapt. Again, we're in a different market right now. You were saying when you think you got to figure out something gets thrown at you and you have to figure it out. In my business, for example, and I'm sure you remember being on the lending when you started, guidelines constantly changing. There are new loan limits, new this, new that. So it's again, be willing to adapt. I think is definitely a big one for our business, and just being ready to rock and roll when something shows up, being willing to take on and say, okay, let's figure this out. Let's see what's coming up next. Something else you wanted to share that I have not asked you that you think I should have asked you that we want to share with the audience and just so they know better who Eddie or the message you want to send out to our audience? Anything you would like to share?
Yeah, the last thing I would say is surround yourself with the eagles. If you're going to fly high, you need to hang out with people who are flying high. You are the average of 5 people you most talk to. If you're talking to your mommy and daddy and brother and they're all very negative, you need to, let them go. I'm not saying disown them, but don't talk to them as much, because that's the bottom line. If it wasn't for my mastermind groups, if it wasn't for the people I'm surrounded by, I would be happy making 100,000 a year. I'm like, oh, life is great. Because I didn't know what was like, when you were an immigrant, right? When you move to this country, like, holy shit, I just want to make a living. I have a nice car, I have a nice apartment, right? And life is good. But then you get exposed. So having these people around you who are like, no, Eddie, no, you can do better. You can do more. You can do more. So I highly recommend having crazy, fanatic, positive people around you who make you feel like, hey, you know what? I better level up. Because you know what? You will.
And you're one of those. So Eddie, thank you. You're definitely one of those people. And I know you have definitely made an impact in so many people. I know I spoke to a few of our common friends and they'll have some beautiful, positive things to say about you. So I know our audience are getting tons from just those few shares that you just did. So thank you for being you. Thank you for leading the way for a lot of us. And thank you for not forgetting that, we were all there at one point and we all need people like you to motivate us and to keep us going, and knowing that there is a possibility down the road that if you keep working and if you keep pushing, if you keep being open-minded about things and you keep implementing and keep prospecting, we can all have the opportunity to have the results. And that's something that I share with my team all the time. At the end of the day, if it's going to be up to you, because we can show you the way, but at the end you need to take action. So thank you for being who you are. And thank you for leading the way for many of us. The bottom of my heart, thank you for the interview. Thank you for taking the time. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
You're such a, one thing I want to say, you're such a kind person. When I talk to you, when I meet with you, you are oozing so much positive energy. And that's what I'm talking about. Having people around you who are kind, down to earth. You don't want cocky people around you. I don't care if you're a billionaire, but if you're cocky, no, you don't want that shit. You want people who are kind, who are willing to share. And that's what makes this life so beautiful, because I have you in my life. and people like you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Level Up Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else podcasts are found, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, you can leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Until next time, we hope you level up.